Once known as Jack Brolin, a reporter for the national news, the hero was born when a freak accident gave him the amazing power of extraordinary hindsight. From toxic spills to unjust wars, there is no task too large for Captain Hindsight.
Captain Hindsight? Captain Hindsight, please come in.
Go ahead.
The oil keeps coming out. We've got other rigs now catching fire.
Listen, they should have hosed down the other rigs as soon as the spill began, then that wouldn't have happened.
Right. Thank you.
Captain Hindsight, the dolphins that those volunteers cleaned of oil, they're all dying. Get down to the volunteers and tell them they should have used a non-bleaching cleanser. Commissioner.
Yes.
Tell Brett Favre he should have never sent actual pictures of his schlong. It's not a blessing, it's a curse.
Well. It looks like old Jack Dorsey has emerged from his hole to chime in on the Twitter files, which is, if you're saying like, you worked there, bro, you're with the rest of us. Most people who have seen these replies are like, what are you talking about? You have literally no right to share any opinion about the Twitter files of what you would have done or who should have done it, because you were the dude. Like, you were the dude in charge. I don't even understand. I don't understand how, like, out of your own mind you have to be to put out this thread. But it's happening. It's here. It's happening. These times. Right after a quick word from this video sponsor, Private Internet Access. Huge shout out to this video sponsor, Private Internet Access. Look, it's 2022 going on 2023. If you don't have a VPN, you're missing out on a ton of benefits. Not just a more secure connection, but if you're paying for Netflix, Disney Plus, or any other streaming service, you're already getting locked out of a ton of additional content that you could be enjoying if you used a VPN. And since they've been sponsoring the channel so long, they've rolled out a massive discount for my viewers. That's right, 84% off plus 4 months free. It's $2.03 a month, 4 months free, 84% off. Private Internet Access also offers privacy on all your devices, lightning fast global server network. And look, outside of all the additional content you're going to be able to view out there using Private Internet Access, it also has a strict no logs policy. It's open source. It has state-of-the-art updates. It's instant to set up. You can put it on all of your devices, your tablet, your computer, your mobile phones. It has unlimited bandwidth and so much more. If you don't have a VPN yet, make today the day. Use my link in the description to get Private Internet Access, start being more secure, and unlock loads more content. There's a lot of conversation, Jack says, around the Twitter files. Here's my take and thoughts on how to fix the issues identified. Why didn't you fix them while you were the CEO, Jack Dorsey? I'll start with the principles I've come to believe based on everything I've learned and experienced in my past actions as Twitter co-founder and lead. You mean CEO? Yeah, okay. 1, social media must be resilient to corporate and government control. How come you didn't? This is going to be, I can already tell this is going to enrage me so much. Bro, why didn't you control that when you were the guy in charge? 2, only the original author may remove content they produce. Big agree. Also, why did you do that at Twitter? 3, moderation is best implemented by algorithmic choice. Probably true. Probably true. I didn't want to edit everything down to 280 character chunks, so here's the rest. And he shares out a getreview.co newsletter. I think it's hilarious that, by the way, he's also working on a new social media called Blue Sky, I think. Is Blue Sky going to be a free speech alternative to Twitter? Excellent write-up with the problems and solutions. Excited to see this. And public domain. This says Damus, the iOS client for Noster, is pretty interesting. Talking about that. Don't care. Let's look at some of the replies before we look at his speech. Are you clueless or what? Sword and Scale. You had your chance to fix it. You had many chances over many years. Quit pretending like you weren't the problem all along. Tony Biante, are you aware that you were the CEO of this company at a point? Ron Baslin, are you aware controlling 2% of the shares means you don't control the company? Wait, yes, I mean, he was the CEO, though. Vince Langman, you either had no idea what was going on at the company you ran, or you're high as a kite 24/7, or you lied under oath. Not sure which one's worse. Respectfully, you can't leave captain of a sinking ship and then tell the new captain how to sail. That's a good way to put it. Not a good look, Jack. People bringing up his video of lying in front of Congress.
Mr. Dorsey, welcome. Thanks for being here. I want to read a few quotes about Twitter's practices, and I just want you to tell me if they're true or not. Social media is being rigged to censor conservatives. Is that true of Twitter?
No.
Of course it was. The former CEO of Twitter must have been out of town when the company he founded was violating the principles that he now says he believes in. Isn't that one of the craziest things? Jack Dorsey's out here talking about free speech and talking about all this stuff that he wants to support. Why didn't you do it when you were running Twitter? Seems pretty curious to me. Where were all these thoughts on how to fix these issues years ago? Why are you prattling on about fixing Twitter now that you're on the sideline? But when you're in the position to actually do something about political bias and the shenanigans going on, you lied and pretended like it wasn't happening. Spare us your bright ideas. I don't even understand. Didn't you perjure yourself in front of Congress? That's a good principle to have. Yeah, I mean, I don't. Then why didn't you do all this? This is like everyone's having the same reaction. I'm like, are you kidding me? You ran it, dude. There's literally no one else better fit to have implemented these things. Now I'm supposed to believe. He goes on, the Twitter that I led, and it was the Twitter of when I led it, and the Twitter of today do not meet any of these principles. This is my fault alone, as I completely gave up pushing for them when an activist entered our stock in 2020. I no longer had hope of achieving any of it as a public company. With no defense mechanism, lack of dual class shares key being one, I planned my exit at the moment knowing I was no longer right for the company. So he sat there for years, didn't pass off the leadership, didn't fight for his own company after going public, is essentially what he's saying. That does happen. The biggest mistake I made was continuing to invest in building tools for us to manage the public conversation versus building tools for the people using Twitter to easily manage it for themselves. This burdened the company with too much power and was opened to significant outside pressure, such as advertising budgets. I generally think that the companies have become far too powerful, and that became completely clear to me with our suspension of Trump's account. As I've said before, we did the right thing for the public company business at the time, but the wrong thing for the internet and society. Bro. And this is so crazy to me. How am I supposed to believe you, bro? How am I supposed to believe any of this? He did tweet out on January 14th, I do not celebrate or feel pride in our having to ban Donald Trump from Twitter or how we got here. After a clear warning, we'd take this action. We made a decision with the best information we had based on the potential threats. Was this correct? No, of course it wasn't correct. Everyone knows, and now we know your own employees told you it wasn't correct. I continue to believe that there was no ill intent or hidden agendas. Well, you weren't watching because the whole world knows there was. And everyone acted according to the best information we had at the time. Again, we now know. So either he wasn't a part of these conversations, which it certainly looked like he was. Am I supposed to believe that Jack Dorsey didn't read his own Slack conversations where his own employees were saying there were no violations, no real reason to ban him, but they did it anyway? Of course, there were mistakes made. But if we had focused more on the tools of people using the service rather than the tools for us and moved much faster towards absolute transparency, we wouldn't have been in the situation of needing a fresh reset, which I'm supportive of. Again, I own all this and our actions, and all I can do is work to make it right. Well, it's interesting that you would take credit for all this stuff. I'm sure that some people looking for lawsuits might do that, might be interested in this admission. Of course, governments want to shape and control the public. Of course, governments want to shape and control the public conversation, and will use every method at their disposal to do so, including the media. And the power a corporation wields to do the same is only growing. It's critical that people have tools to resist this, and that these tools are ultimately owned by the people. Allowing a government or few corporations to own the public conversation is a path towards centralized control. Again, nobody was in a better position for years to stop this. I'm a strong believer that any content produced by somebody for the internet should be permanent until the original author chooses to delete it. Again, Twitter deleted millions of tweets a week. Content takedowns and suspensions should not be possible. Doing so complicates important context, learning of enforcement, and illegal activity. There are significant issues with this stance, of course, but stating this with principle will allow for a far better solution than we have today. The internet is trending towards a world where storage is free and infinite, which places all the actual value on how to discover and see the content. I mean, maybe. All he's doing here is he's literally shilling to people for Blue Sky. Because when he finishes this up, I do still wish for Twitter and every company to become uncomfortably transparent in all their actions. And I wish I was forced more of that years ago. I do believe absolute transparency builds trust. As for the files, I wish they were released wiki style with many more eyes and interpretations to consider. And along with that, commitments of transparency for present and future actions. I'm hopeful this will happen. There's nothing to hide, only a lot to learn from. Oh, there's plenty to hide. The government probably doesn't want this. The current attacks on my former colleagues could be dangerous and doesn't solve anything. If you want to blame, direct it at me and my actions and lack thereof. As for the free and open social media protocol goes, there are many competing projects. Blue Sky is one with the AT protocol, Mastodon another, Matrix yet another, and there will be many more. One will have a chance at becoming a standard like HTTP or SMTP. This isn't about decentralized Twitter. This is focused and urgent push for a foundational core technology standard to make social media a native part of the internet. I believe it's critical to both Twitter's future and the public conversation's ability to truly serve the people. Wow. All that. So, yeah, I should have done all this stuff. But you should definitely follow Blue Sky. Are you kidding me? Get out of here, Jack. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's time for Christmas. Maybe it'll make me feel better. Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas. How about Sonic? Nope, this is Mario. Okay, so Mario, the one that's kind of messed up, so I've got to just take whatever's there. So, oh, we got the bullet guy. I almost called him a bomb, but that's not him. This guy, of course, remember jumping and dodging these in Super Mario World? Oh, it even has the little flame in the back. That's a nice touch. They didn't need to do that. That's fun. Okay, then. Merry Christmas.